Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, June 21st, 2021. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's NBA and Stanley Cup playoff games, as well as Major League Baseball, WNBA, College World Series, and UEFA games from yesterday and the rest of the weekend. I should say UEFA Euro. And look at everything going on tonight. We will recap the U.S. Open. We will recap the weekend's NASCAR races from Nashville. We'll do our 2020 NHL ReDraft, news and notes, and my best bet of the day. So I have a big show today. We will start with NBA. We will start with Friday night. 76ers over the Hawks, 104-99 to even up the series at 3 to force a Game 7. Clippers over the Jazz, 131-119 to end the Jazz's season to move on to the Western Conference Finals without Kawhi Leonard behind the back of Paul George. Saturday, Bucks over the Nets, 115-111 in overtime in a classic of a Game 7 as the Bucks move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Nets season is over. And then yesterday, Suns over the Clippers, 120-114 in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, take a 1-0 series lead over the Clippers, and the Hawks over the 76ers, 103-96 to win Game 7 to move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. So I'm going to do my picks for each series now that we don't have any games tonight. So I'm just going to give out my picks. We'll start with the Eastern Conference Finals, Hawks-Bucks. I don't think anybody expected that as the conference finals. But a subplot I just thought about, Coach Bud against his former team. Coach Bud coached the Hawks. Then the Hawks underachieved in 2000, I want to say it was the 17-18 season. He gets fired. And then he gets hired by the Milwaukee Bucks. And then, yeah, it was the 17-18 season because Giannis won MVPs in 18-19 and 19-20. So that would make sense. And both the MVPs were under Coach Bud and not Jason Kidd. And so he goes to the Bucks, and the Hawks go with Lloyd Pierce. That didn't work out. And then Lloyd Pierce was out in a couple years. And then they fire him midseason and go with Nate McMillan, who used to coach the Pacers and now has the Hawks sitting here in the conference finals. So, little coaching subplot here with Coach Bud against his former team. Best player in the series is Giannis to me. He's just flat out awesome. The breakout star of these playoffs has been Trae Young, who really has established himself as a top point guard in this game now, and really has made the draft night trade of the Luka Doncic pick look a little less worse. I mean, I still say that Dallas wins that trade because Luka has a chance to be an all-time player and arguably the best Euro player to ever play in the NBA once it's all said and done. But Trae Young is awesome. That is better than your average consolation prize of a trade that you lost. And then the other subplot of Luka Doncic is DeAndre Ayton is also in the conference finals. And it worked out for the Suns, too, because Ayton's a better fit with Devin Booker than we would have expected. And Ayton is somebody that's been putting up double-doubles in the postseason. So, back to the series here. For my pick, to me, Atlanta, all due respect, I think has caught some breaks along the way to this run. Not to say that they aren't a good team. But Philly choked in Game 5. I think that they should have lost Game 1 against the Knicks. And I'm not saying that they would have lost to the Knicks. But I think they've had some lucky moments to get there. Game 5, that comeback was humongous. Or else they're not in this position. But I just think that the Bucks, I think that this is their time. I love Giannis. He's just a special player. I think that Drew Holiday, it's time for him to finally wake up here. And I think that he's a good two-way guard and could slow down Trae Young a little bit and get into his face. I think the crowd in Milwaukee is going to be fabulous. Chris Middleton, I think, is going to have a good two-way effect on the series. To me, what scares me for Atlanta is the injury to Bogdan Bogdanovic. That really scares me a lot. Or else I would have thought about the Hawks. And even Trae Young's banged up a little bit. But Bogdanovic is more banged up than Young. I think John Collins will have a good series. I think Clint Capella will continue his fine play. So the pick here, I think the Hawks will fight to the bitter end. I'm going to go Bucks in 7. I thought about Bucks in 6, but I think it's going to go 7. I think this is going to be a great series, and I think the Hawks are going to make the city of Atlanta feel very proud of the season that they've put together here. And on the west side, it's the Suns and it's the Clippers. The Clippers have never been to a conference finals. The Suns haven't been to the conference finals since 2010, in which they were 2-2 with the Lakers. And then Artest hits the shot in Game 5. And Kobe and the Lakers close out Game 6 in Phoenix. And then here they are with Devin Booker, Chris Paul on the COVID list. And on the other side, the Clippers, they're down 2-0 against the Jazz and 2-0 against the Mavericks. For Ali to win both those series respectively in 7 and 6. Kawhi Leonard's out, which is a big loss for the Clippers, and that's what makes me nervous about picking the Clippers here in the first place. And I was thinking Suns the whole way. Even if Kawhi was healthy and if Chris was healthy, then I would have went Suns in 7. But I think Kawhi is so special of a basketball player, two-way player, arguably the best player in the league that's left. Paul George has been playing out of his mind without Kawhi and is reminding everybody what kind of player he could be when he's the man. And without Chris, the Suns have been fine. Like Devin Booker stepped up his game. Ayton's been fabulous. Mikal Bridges has had some moments. Jay Crowder's been in a lot of big games in his life. So, lo and behold, I think Chris will be back. I'm not positive about Kawhi. So I'm going to go Suns in 6 for my pick, as the Suns will go to their first finals in years, since 1993, I believe it was, when they had Charles Barkley on their team. So I think we're going to have Suns-Bucks in the finals. Chris Paul against the team that he could have been traded to in the Bucks. So that would be pretty cool. And then Devin Booker and Giannis. So a lot of star power in the finals. I know they're not going to like it from a rating standpoint. That's why I'm sure the people at ABC are very upset that Philly lost. But the Clippers, I think, will draw ratings. They're Los Angeles, so they still got a shot with the Clippers here. So we're going to go Bucks in 7 and Suns in 6 for the picks for the conference finals. Now we'll do NHL Stanley Cup playoffs from the weekend and look ahead to the game being played tonight. Friday night, Canadiens over to Golden Knights 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Josh Anderson, not Luke Richardson. I was just going to say Luke Richardson had to take over as head coach because their coach, Montreal's head coach, tested positive for COVID. We'll get into that in news and notes. And so here we are as Luke Richardson is now coaching the Canadiens. So a little bit of a COVID scare going on in this series. And then the Vegas GM tested positive as well. So Montreal went up 2-1 in this series on Friday night. Saturday, Isles over the Lightning 3-2 to even up that series at 2 apiece. And then Sunday, which is last night, Golden Knights over the Canadiens 2-1 in overtime on a game winner by Nick Raw, as that's now a 2-2 series. Tonight is Game 5, Lightning Islanders, 8 o'clock on NBCSN. Should be a fun game tonight. The Lightning are minus 186. The Islanders are plus 160. Over under 5. Overs minus 136. Unders plus 112. Islanders plus 1/2 is minus 175. Lightning minus 1/2 is plus 143. This is courtesy of DraftKings. I'm going to go Lightning in regulation at minus 112. I think that they'll bounce back at home in front of that home faithful. That crowd's been tremendous in the postseason. All these crowds have been tremendous, but let's go with the Lightning minus 112 at home to take a 3-2 series lead. All right, to Major League Baseball we go. We will look back on the games from the weekend, look ahead to tonight's games. A's over the Yankees 5-3, Pirates over the Indians 11-10. That's a crazy score. Nats over the Mets 1-0, Orioles over the Blue Jays 7-1, Braves over the Cardinals 9-1, Marlins over the Cubs 10-2, Twins over the Rangers 7-5 and 10. Royals over the Red Sox 5-3. Astros over the White Sox 2-1. Rockies over the Brewers 6-5 in 10 on a walk-off single by C.J. Cron. Angels over the Tigers 11-3. Dodgers over the Diamondbacks 3-0. Phillies over the Giants Giants over the Phillies 5-3. Padres over the Reds 8-2, and the Mariners over the Rays 5-1. Saturday, Yankees over the A's 7-5. Mets over the Nationals 5-1 and 7 doubleheader game 1. Marlins over the Cubs 11-1. Pirates over the Indians 6-3. Twins over the Rangers 3-2. Phillies over the Giants 13-6. Blue Jays over the Orioles 10-7. Red Sox over the Royals 7-1. Nationals over the Mets 6-2 in 7 doubleheader game 2. Astros over the White Sox 7-3. Padres over the Reds 7-5. Brewers over the Rockies 6-5. Angels over the Tigers 8-3. Dodgers over the Diamondbacks 9-3. Mariners over the Rays 6-5 and 10 on a walk-off single by Mitch Haniger. And Cardinals Braves was postponed and they made it up yesterday. They had a doubleheader. Yankees over the A's 2-1. That game ended on a triple play, so that's 3 triple plays for the Yankees this season, as they are 38-33. Oakland 44-29. Indians over the Pirates 2-1. Indians 39-30. Pirates 25-45. Nats over the Mets 5-2. Nats 33-36. Mets 36-29. Blue Jays over the Orioles 7-4. The Blue Jays are 35-35. Baltimore 23-48. Royals over the Red Sox 7-3. Royals 32-38. Boston 43-29. Astros over the White Sox 8-2. The Astros have won 7 straight. 43-28. Chicago 43-29. As Dallas Keuchel loses his return to Houston. Cardinals over the Braves doubleheader game 1, 9-7 in game 1. Cardinals 36-35. Atlanta 32-36. Cubs over the Marlins 2-0. Cubs 40-32. Miami 31-40. Twins over the Rangers 4-2. Twins 30-41. Texas 25-46. Brewers over the Rockies 7-6. Brewers 40-32. Colorado 30-43. Giants over the Phillies 11-2. Giants 46-26. Philly 34-35. Tigers over the Angels 5-3-10. Tigers 30-42. Angels 36-36. Padres over the Reds 3-2. Padres 42-32. The Reds 35-35. Dodgers over the Diamondbacks 9-8. Dodgers 44-27. Arizona 20-53. So that's 17 straight losses for the Diamondbacks. Piled onto that road losing streak they have. What a mess in Arizona. Jeez. Mariners over the Rays 6-2 and 10 on a walk-off grand slam by Shedlong Jr. Seattle 38-36. Rays 43-3. That is 6 straight losses for Tampa Bay to get the Yankees back in the division mix after what was a horrible slump for the Yankees. Now they've won 5 of 6 and are kind of back in the AL East mix. And Boston lost a couple games too. That's going to be a fun division to watch in the summertime, especially if this Yankees semi-resurgence is real. Braves over the Cardinals 1-0 in 7 doubleheader game number 2. Atlanta 33-36. St. Louis 36-36. Lone run was a homer by Ronald Acuna Jr. All right. Only a few games tonight. 8, which sucks. 5 o'clock, you have the Braves and the Mets. Ian Anderson and Jacob DeGrom. DeGrom's just been a man on a mission. Now I'm on FanDuel for these lines because I think FanDuel is better. Baseball lines here. I don't know if this game is posted yet. Due to the fact that it's a doubleheader game and it's not. But yeah, the Mets should win this game. If the total is anything under 5, I'm going to take the over. 7 o'clock, Astros-Orioles from Camden Yards. Jake Odorizzi and Keegan Aiken. Astros minus 162, Orioles plus 136, over under 10, overs minus 120, unders minus 102. Astros minus 1.5 is minus 110. Orioles plus 1.5 is minus 110. I'm going to go Astros run line here. They're just better than the Orioles. 8 o'clock, Indians Cubs. Aaron Savali and Adbert Alzolay. Cubs minus 152, Indians plus 128, over under 7, over minus 122, unders plus 100. Indians plus 1.5 is minus 170, Cubs minus 1.5 is plus 138. This game, I'm going to go with the dog Indians, plus 128, just to taking a shot here. He's 10-2. ERA 3.46, whip 1.06, but Alzolay and Savali have been equally as good. You could argue from a whip standpoint, Savali struck out more guys, although he's given up more homers and let up more walks. That's made for the whip being a little bit higher than Alzolay. But I'm going to go with the Indians as a dog, plus 128. All right, A's Rangers. Frankie Montas and Kyle Gibson. Oakland's minus 130, Rangers plus 110, over under 8.5, overs minus 108, unders minus 114. Oakland plus 1.5, or minus 1.5 is plus 120. Rangers plus 1.5 is minus 144. Let's go with the Rangers, plus 110. Kyle Gibson's been really good this season, so plus 110. That's a guy that's going to be traded at the deadline for sure. Braves Mets. Doubleheader game 2. Kyle Muller, and we don't know what's going for New York. I think this is going to be a Mets sweep. I really do. Kyle Muller, who is he? We don't know. But it would be Mets to lose to a guy named Kyle Muller. But I think Mets sweep the doubleheader. If the total is anything below 7, I'm taking the over in game 2. Reds Twins, Tyler Mahle and Jay Happ. The Reds are minus 120. The Twins are plus 102. Over under 9. Overs minus 120. Unders minus 102. Reds minus 1.5 is plus 136. Twins plus 1.5 is minus 164. I'm going to go with Reds run line. Minus 1.5 is plus 136. They're just... Tyler Mahle's just way better than Jay Happ. 7-2. 3.39 ERA. He's been pretty good. 9:30 Brewers Diamondbacks. Let's see if the Diamondbacks could break the losing streak tonight. Brett Anderson and Merrill Kelly. Brewers minus 118. The Diamondbacks are even money, over under 9.5. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Brewers minus 1.5 is plus 126. Diamondbacks plus 1.5 is minus 152. I'm going to go over 9.5, minus 104. The Diamondbacks have been giving up runs left and right. I think the Brewers could do this by themselves. So I'm going to go over 9.5, minus 104. And 10 o'clock on ESPN, game of the night in Major League Baseball, Dodgers-Padres. The Padres are 2 back of the Dodgers in the win column, 5 back in the loss column. So the Dodgers have just played more games than the Pods. Julio Urias and Yu Darvish. The Padres are minus 112 or minus 132 favorites. Dodgers are a dog, plus 112, over under 7. Over minus 115, unders minus 105. Dodgers plus 1.5 is minus 182. Padres minus 1.5 is plus 150. Darvish has been really good this year. If it wasn't for Jacob deGrom, he'd be in the running for the National League Cy Young Award. I'm going to go under 7, minus 105. I know it's a ballsy play to go under 7. I never normally do that, but I'm going to do it here. Under 7 at minus 105 between the Padres and the Dodgers. All right, now we'll go to the WNBA. We will look back on the weekend's games, and there are no games tonight because they are off on Mondays. So Friday, Mercury over Sparks, 80-66. The Mercury is 6-7, LA is 5-6. Saturday, Sky over the Sun, 91-81. Sky 7-7, Sun 8-5. Commissioner's Cup, Mystics over the Fever, 82-77. Mystics 6-6, Indiana 1-14. I can't believe how bad the Fever have been this year. Wings over the Lynx, 95-77. The Wings 6-7. The Lynx 5-7. And then yesterday, the Liberty over the Sparks, 76-73, an ESPN game. Liberty are over 500 at 7-6. LA is 5-7. All right, no games today. Now we will go look back on the College World Series and what's gone on so far in that, and we will look ahead to today's 2 games. College World Series got underway on Saturday. NC State over Stanford 10-4. Vanderbilt over Arizona 7-6 and 12. On a walk-off single, as Vanderbilt wins that game. And then Virginia over Tennessee 6-0. Mississippi State over Texas 2-1. And we have an elimination game between Stanford and Arizona, as the loser goes home. Both these teams are very, very good. I think that there's a lot of pressure on a couple of these teams. And I think Stanford is one of them. I think Arizona was just in a classic of a game against Vanderbilt. So that's where I think that Arizona came oh so close. So I'm going to say Arizona wins. I think they're better. They have some really good players on their team. So give me Arizona to avoid elimination and to bounce back after that loss against Vandy. And then at 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN, you have Vandy and NC State. I think Vanderbilt is the best team in the field. Tim Corbin's a really good coach. They have 2 very talented pitchers in Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker. Both those guys are going to be first-round picks. I think they have some talent offensively. Dominic Keegan's a good player. And on the other side, Devontae Brown has been really good. So is Johnny Butler and Austin Muir on NC State side. So I'm going to say Vanderbilt advances to the next round. And then NC State will play Arizona in an elimination game here. So I'm going to go with Vanderbilt to move on to the semifinal here. All right, now we'll go over UEFA. We have not touched on UEFA yet on the podcast. We just haven't had the time for it because I was on vacation. We'll go over everything that's gone on UEFA. It's been an interesting tournament, to say the least. It all started on last Friday, the 11th. They had the group stages. Very quickly, I'm going to go over the groups. Group A was Italy, Wales, Switzerland, and Turkey. Group B, Belgium, Russia, Finland, Denmark. Group C, Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, and North Macedonia. Group D, Czech Republic, England, Croatia, and Scotland. Group E, Sweden, Slovakia, Spain, and Poland. Group F, France, Germany, Portugal, and Hungary. So those were the groups. And the round of 16 will start on June 26th. So we're still in group stage. So Friday, Italy beat Turkey 3-0. Saturday, Wales and Switzerland were in a draw at 1-1. Finland over Denmark 1-0. Belgium over Russia 3-0. Sunday the 13th, England over Croatia 1-0. Austria over North Macedonia 3-1. Netherlands over Ukraine 3-2. Monday, Czech Republic over Scotland 2-0. Slovakia over Poland 2-1. Spain and Sweden were in a 0-0 draw. Tuesday, Portugal over Hungary 3-0. France over Germany 1-0. Wednesday the 16th, Russia over Finland 1-0. Wales over Turkey 2-0. And Italy over Switzerland 3-0. Thursday, Ukraine over North Macedonia 2-1. Belgium over Denmark 2-1. Netherlands over Austria 2-0. Friday, Sweden over Slovakia 1-0. Croatia and Czech Republic were in a 1-1 draw. England and Scotland 0-0 draw. Saturday, Hungary and France 1-1 draw. Germany over Portugal 4-2. Spain and Poland 1-1 draw. Sunday, Switzerland over Turkey 3-1 and Italy over Wales 1-0. All right, 4 games today. 12 o'clock, ESPN, Ukraine and Austria. We're still in the group stage here. Ukraine has assured a top 3 finish, and so is Austria. Netherlands has advanced to a further round and is a host. And that's the Netherlands. So they'll be playing North Macedonia also at 12 o'clock, and who is eliminated. So this is Group C, the last of Group C. So I'm going to say that let's go with Ukraine, and we'll go with and by the way, Ukraine is plus 270. So that's a nice price there. And then we'll go with the Netherlands at minus 430. And then at 3 o'clock on ESPN2 is Finland, Belgium. And on regular ESPN is Russia, Denmark. And that is Group B. Finland is plus 850. Belgium plus 380. Or I'm sorry, the tie is plus 380. Belgium's minus 320. Russia's plus 370. Tie plus 280. Denmark's minus 140. I'm going to go with Belgium in that one between them and Finland. And then Russia, Denmark. Denmark is a host. They haven't. They're 0-2, which Denmark's under some pressure, and Russia is 1-0-1. I'm gonna go with the dog here. Russia just went up to plus 380. I think Russia's been really good, so I'm gonna go with Russia plus 380 to defeat Denmark. And then obviously more group games tomorrow, which we'll cover on tomorrow's show. All right, now we will go over the results of the U.S. Open. Your winner, who actually was the favorite, you never see a favorite win, but you do here at the U.S. Open, at a score of 6 under, Jon Rahm. Second place with a score of 5 under, Louis Oolten. Third place with a score of 3 under, Harry English. Tied for fourth with 2 under, Brooks Koepka, Colin Morikawa, and Guido Migliozzi at 2 under. Tied for 7th with 1 under, Xander Schauffele, my pick of Daniel Berger, Paul Casey, Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, and Brandon Grace. At even, tied for 13th, you had Russell Henley and Francesco Molinari. And now we're just going to go through notables because we're in the overs now. Tied for 15th with 1 over, Mackenzie Hughes, Patrick Cantlay. Tied for 19th with 2 over, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Sergio Garcia, Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed. Tied for 26th with 3 over, Hideki Matsuyama, Bryson DeChambeau. Tied for 31st with 4 over, Joaquin Niemann. Tied for 35th with 5 over, Lucas Griffin, Sungjae Im, Adam Scott. Tied for 40th with 6 over, Adam Hadwin, JT Potts, Ian Poulter, Siwoo Kim, Ches Ravi. Tied for 46th with 7 over, Dylan Fratelli, Taylor Hoge, Lee Westwood. Tied for 50th with 8 over, Bubba Watson, Rafa Cabrera Bello, Gary Woodland, Tommy Fleetwood. Tied for 55th with 9 over was Matt Fitzpatrick and Kevin Kisner. Tied for 57th with 10 over, Jonathan Vegas, Stuart Sink. Tied for 62nd at 11 over was Phil Mickelson. 64th with 12 over was Mark Leishman. Tied for 65th with 13 over, Shane Lowry and Matt Jones. Among those cut, Evan Van Rooyen, Cam Smith, Wyndham Clark, Tyrell Hatton, Corey Connors, Matt Wallace, Zach Johnson, Sebastian Munoz, Brett Horschel, Walter Zalatoris, Brendan Todd, Tony Finau, Abraham Anser, Ryan Palmer, a couple others, Kevin Knox. Kevin Na. Kevin Knox is an NBA player on the Knicks. Cam Champ, Webb Simpson, JJ Spawn, Justin Rose, and Victor Hovland withdrew. So those are the results for the U.S. Open, and the Travelers Championship is Thursday to Sunday. We'll do a pick on Wednesday's podcast. All right, NASCAR from Nashville. The return to Nashville for NASCAR. We will go over the results. We will start with the Truck Series. And the winner was Ryan Preece. Congratulations to Ryan Preece for his big win. Second, Todd Gilliland. Third, Grant Effinger. Fourth, Zane Smith. Fifth, Stuart Friesen. Sixth, Matt Crafton. Seventh, Ben Rhodes. 8th, Ty Majeski. 9th, Austin Hill. 10th, John H. Nemechek. The rest: Jack Wood, Johnny Sauter, Chandler Smith, Sheldon Creed, Chase Purdy, Carson Osvar, Parker Klingerman, Tanner Gray, Josh Berry, Tate Fogelman, Haley Deegan, Ross Chasen, Tyler Ankrum, Drew Dollar, Spencer Davis, Ryan Truex, Austin Wayne Self, Dawson Cram, Timmy Hill, Danny Bowen, Corey Roper, Chris Wright, Trey Hutchins III, Lawless Alon, Derek Krause, and William Byron. And now we will do Xfinity results from Nashville. And your winner, and predictably so, Kyle Busch. In second place, you had Justin Allgaier. In third place, Harrison Burton. Fourth, Josh Berry. Fifth, AJ Allmendinger. Sixth, Brandon Jones. Seventh, Jeb Burton. 8th, Noah Gragson. 9th, Austin Hill. 10th, Riley Herbst. The rest: Jeremy Clements, Michael Annette, Daniel Hemrick, Will Rogers, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Sieg, Alex Labb, Ryan Vargas, Justin Haley, Tommy Joe Martins, Josh Williams, J.J. Yaley, Brett Moffitt, David Starr, Matt Mills, Natalie Decker, Jesse Little, Kyle Weatherman, Landon Castle, Bailey Curry, Matt Snyder, Austin Cindric, Jade Buford, Joe Graff Jr., Brandon Brown, and Stephon Parsons. And last but not least, the Cup Series results from Nashville. And your winner, Kyle Larson, who's just been flat out dominant of late in the Cup Series in his return revenge season after being suspended a year ago. That guy absolutely has a chip on his shoulder for sure. Second, Ross Chaston. Third, William Byron. Fourth, Eric Almirola. Fifth, Kevin Harvick. Sixth, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Seventh, Daniel Suarez. Eighth, Kurt Busch. Ninth, Chris Bell. 10th, Joey Logano. The rest: Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, Ryan Newman, Alec Bowman, Corey LaJoie, Michael McDowell, Anthony Alfredo, Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, that was my pick, Martin Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski, Matt DiBenedetto, Garrett Smithley, Josh Bilicki, J.J. Yeley, B.J. McLeod, Joey Gase, Cole Custer, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Preece, Chad Fincham, David Starr, Justin Haley, Chris Buescher, Ryan Bailey, Quinn Houff, and Chase Elliott, who finished in a disappointing last place. All right, now I'm going to do my NHL redraft from 2020. I promised you guys that I would do this on a podcast sooner rather than later. Now that I'm back from vacation, I have it for you right here. All right, so number 1, the New York Rangers, no change. Alexis Lafreniere, disappointing rookie season from a production standpoint, but got hot later, but still no do-over by the Rangers. Number 2, the Los Angeles Kings go with Tim Stützle. So instead of Quentin Byfield, they go with the wing and Tim Stützle, who was picked next by the Ottawa Senators, who really had a solid rookie year. Number 3, the Ottawa Senators from the San Jose Sharks, Jamie Drysdale. So they go with the defenseman and Drysdale, who showed some promise with the Ducks in his rookie season. Instead, they went with Stützle, who was already taken. 4th, the Red Wings go with Quentin Byfield, who was the 2nd overall pick. Didn't show much in the National Hockey League in his brief time with the Kings. Instead, the Red Wings went with Lucas Raymond. 5, the Ottawa Senators, Seth Jarvis, who really had a fabulous season in the AHL this past season as he went 13th to the Hurricanes. And instead, they went with Jake Sanderson. 6th, the Anaheim Ducks go with Cole Perfetti, who showed some promise in the AHL this past season, who went 10th to the Jets. Instead, they went with Jamie Drysdale, who went 3rd in this redraft. 7th, the New Jersey Devils go with Jack Quinn, who showed some promise in the AHL as he went 8th to the Sabres. 8th, the Buffalo Sabres go with Braden Schneider, who was the Rangers pick at 19. They traded up for him. Braden Schneider really looked good this past year in the WHL and played some time in Hartford this year too. And in Buffalo with Jack Quinton. By the way, the Devils went with Alexander Holtz at 7. 9, the Minnesota Wild go with Justin Barron, who really looks like the next star defenseman that's coming for the Colorado Avalanche. Who just keep producing defensemen at a high rate. Instead, they went with Marco Rossi, who actually have Winnipeg taking at 10 here. As Marco Rossi really put on a show at the OHL in the past. This guy, I think, could be a star for the Minnesota Wild. And the guy the Jets took, Cole Perfetti, already had going in this mock draft at 6, or this redraft. 11, the Nashville Predators go with Dawson Mercer. Really showed some promise in the QMJHL. And the Devils took him 18. Instead, Nashville went with the goalie, Yaroslav Aksarov, who's good. I think they needed offense here in this redraft. All right. 12, the Florida Panthers. Antoine Lundell was their actual pick, and they went with Marvik Bork, who really put up some numbers in the QMJHL. He was picked 30th by Dallas. 13, the Carolina Hurricanes go with Hendrix Lapierre. So with Seth Jarvis off the board, they go with Lapierre, who really was awesome in the QMJHL. I think that he will be playing in Hershey next year with the Hershey Bears in the AHL, and I think he's going to be the next good Capitals prospect that comes up eventually. Number 14, the Edmonton Oilers go with Ridley Greig. Ridley Greig went 28th to Ottawa, put up some great numbers with the Wheat Kings in the WHL, and I think will probably be with Belleville next year. And instead, Edmonton went with Dylan Holloway, which wasn't a bad pick. 15, the Maple Leafs from the Penguins. This is the pick they got back for Kasperi Kapanen. They go with Ozzy Weisblot. Ozzy Weisblot was the last pick in the first round by the Sharks. Put up some really good numbers in the WHL Prince Albert. He'll probably be playing with the Barracudas in the AHL next year for a lot, and then maybe he'll be on the Sharks at the end of next year. And instead, they went with Rodion Amirov. Number 16, the Montreal Canadiens, Jake Neighbors, who was the Blues' first-round pick at 27 overall. Really put up some monster numbers in the OHL. And I think, the WHL. I'm looking at the wrong name here. I'm sorry, guys. So, yeah, good numbers in Edmonton in the WHL. I think that guy is going to be on the Blues at the end of next year, potentially. Maybe he'll start this year with the Blues. Who knows? And instead, Montreal went with Caden Gould. Not bad. 17, the Chicago Blackhawks go with Connor Zary, who was Calgary's pick at 24. They traded back a couple times and got some assets here. Connor Zary was the Flames pick. Great stats in the WHL and played some time in the AHL as well. And instead, they went with Lucas Reichel. Number 18, the New Jersey Devils from the Arizona Coyotes. This was the pick that they got back for Taylor Hall. Tyson Forster. Tyson Forster was the Flyers pick at 23. Really promising player. Put up some good numbers with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms in the AHL. But the guy the Devils took, Dawson Mercer, went higher in this redraft. So Forster's a nice consolation prize here. 19, the Calgary Flames, Jacob Perreault. That was the Ducks pick at 27. Perreault's a promising prospect. played well in San Diego in the AHL. And I think he's going to potentially be on the Ducks next year. And instead, Calgary went with, they traded back. They picked the 24, but this was the Rangers pick. So they did pick Connor Zary. They traded back for Zary, and New York was supposed to pick 22nd. They moved up from 22nd to 19, and then Calgary went from 19 to 22 and 22 to 24. So this pick turned out to be Braden Schneider, which was an awesome pick by the Rangers. Number 20, the New Jersey Devils from Vancouver via Tampa. So this was the pick that Tampa got back from JT Miller, and then Tampa dealt it for I'm blanking on the player's name. Blake Coleman. And he was a player on the that was on the Devils that's out on the Lightning. So Devils at 20 go with Jake Sanderson, who Ottawa took 5th. Sanderson put up some good numbers in college. I think he'll be a good NHL defenseman. And instead, New Jersey went with Shakir Mukamodelin. Oof. 21, the Columbus Blue Jackets go with Caden Gould. So Gould drops from 16 to 21. Gould put up some promising numbers in the WHL with Prince Albert. And instead, they went with Igor Chnikov. 22, the Rangers from Carolina. So, as I mentioned before, Rangers moved up from 22 to 19. So, how I do redrafts now, I don't do draft night trades. I just do the trades that took place prior to the draft, not during the draft. So, Rangers from Carolina, that was the Brady Shea deal. They go in the redraft here with Thomas Bordelot. Bordelot actually a second-round pick by San Jose. Put up some good numbers with Michigan. And I think could be on the Sharks at the end. Maybe not this upcoming season, but in 22-23 could very well be on the Sharks. And instead, they moved up for Braden Schneider. And this pick at 22, Washington moved up to take Hendrix Lapierre, who went earlier in this redraft. The Flyers at 23 go with Dylan Holloway. So Holloway drops from 14 to 23. And with Forrester off the board, they go with a talented player in Holloway, who is a really, really promising young forward who I think could be yet another Edmonton good draft pick. 24, the Washington Capitals. They go with Brendan Breeson in this redraft. Breeson was the Knights pick at 29. Put up some good numbers at Michigan. I think that he's going to be a good NHL player once he gets there. Connor Zary was the pick at 24 from Calgary, but Washington moved up for Hendrix Lapierre, which was really good. 25, the Colorado Avalanche go with Luke Evangelista, who was the Predators pick in the second round. Or was he a first round? I think he was round 2. Yeah, really talented player, yes. And then he actually played a little bit in the AHL, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And I think he could be on the Preds at the end of next season, potentially. So, some good numbers, and instead, Colorado went with Justin Barron, who looks like a steal already. Number 26, the St. Louis Blues go with Antoine Lundell. Lundell drops from 12 to 26, which is a pretty big drop. Jake Neighbors was the pick there, but he went 6 spots higher to the Montreal in the redraft. 27, the Anaheim Ducks from the Boston Bruins. Rodion Amirov. So this was the pick they got back. In the Nick Ritchie deal. Amirov went 15 to Toronto. So he drops all the way to this spot. Didn't have the best stats in the KHL this past season, which is a concern. But I'm sure they're happy with Neighbors. I'm sure they're happy with Perriol. Neighbors was the Blues pick. I'm sure they're happy with Perriol. So that's the second time I got those mixed up, those two players. 28, the Ottawa Senators from the New York Islanders. So this was the pick they got back for Juan Gabriel Pago. Yaroslav Aksarov. So they get the goalie of the future here with Aksarov. And maybe if they take Aksarov here, maybe they still do the Matt Murray deal. Or maybe they don't do the Matt Murray deal. So they get the goalie of the future here, and instead they went with Ridley Greig, who went higher in the redraft at 14. 29, the Vegas Golden Knights. They go with Alexander Holtz with Brisson going 5 spots sooner. They go with Holtz, who drops from 7 all the way down to 29, which is a prestigious drop for someone who went 7th overall. Played some time with Binghamton this past year, but really did not show much in the SHL. Maybe this is somebody that's higher in next year's, when I do this next year. Number 30, the Dallas Stars, Ryan O'Rourke. So with Bork off the board, they go with Ryan O'Rourke, who was picked in the second round by the Wild as a defenseman. Put up some really, really good numbers. And even showed some AHL time. And number 30, the San Jose Sharks, Luke Tuck, who was a second-round pick. Or was he a first? I think he was a second-round pick by Montreal. Yes, second rounder. Put up some promising stats. And San Jose took Ozzy Weisblatt with in the first round. So Weisblatt, obviously I had going much higher in the redraft at 15. Luke Tuck really showed some promise this past year playing. I believe he was a college player, if I'm not mistaken here. All right, so there you have it for the redraft. Now, quickly, I'm going to do news and notes here. There's a lot that I have to get to here. The U.S. Women's Olympic roster is set. Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi are the headliners. And then there's a lot of good players on there as well. Ariel Atkins, Nafisa Collier, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Chelsea Gray, Jewel Lloyd are all on the team. Tina Charles, Sylvia Foys, Brittany Griner, Brianna Stewart. So it's a pretty good team that they have out there, and I think it'd be a major disappointment if this team does not win the gold medal. Stephen A. Smith on First Take and on SportsCenter last night said that the 76ers have to trade Ben Simmons. You got to trade Ben Simmons. You know Ben Simmons is going to top everybody's panic trade list. It's like him, C.J. McCollum. Middleton would have been on there if the Bucks lost last night. There's some other guys that are going to be on that list too, obviously. And it looks like Joel Embiid might have called him out and said that the turning point of the game was when we had an open shot and we made one free throw. He did call out Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, I don't think, is going to be on the 76ers next year. Quavo, the rapper, celebrated with the Hawks after the big win yesterday. And after the Suns' big win, DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker FaceTimed Chris Paul to make sure Chris Paul knew how many assists Booker had after the big win. The lights went out in Atlanta in Game 6 as all the lights randomly went out, but the fans made the most of it, which was funny. Robin Leonard started instead of Marc-Andre Fleury yesterday, which was a big difference in that game. I'm not saying that Vegas would have lost if they went to Fleury, but Robin Leonard was certainly the best player on the ice last night. Kelly McCrinnon's positive for COVID, as we talked about earlier. And Descharmy's positive as well, the Canadiens coach. Pierre Maguire jinxed Marc-Andre Fleury, which didn't lead to the gaffe, obviously, that cost Vegas Game 3. But right before the gaffe, Pierre says Fleury's puck handling has made a difference. And then that game-tying goal happens. And then Montreal won Game 3. That's why I think this series is probably going to be done in 6. Because let's face it, Marc-Andre Fleury doesn't screw up. That's a 3-1 series, and Vegas is probably closing out Game 5 tomorrow night. Doc Rivers unsure about Ben Simmons and says that he doesn't know how to answer the question to whether Ben Simmons could be a point guard for a championship team. Spencer Dinwiddie to decline $12.3 million option to become an unrestricted free agent. That's going to be a risky free agent for somebody to sign coming off the injury. Lakers fire Nina Hsieh as a process of restructuring the team's approach to player health. So that was the fall person for the first round exit with all the injuries. The Mavericks discussed Jason Kidd for head coach as Dallas briefly discussed Kidd as a potential head coach, but Cuban wants to prioritize hiring new GM first. It sounds like Dallas is going to hire one of their assistants that gets along with Luka really well. And you know Luka's going to make some power moves here. And Dallas is going to do everything they can to make sure that kid stays. The Rays called up Wander Franco as the top prospect in baseball joined Tampa Bay on Tuesday when they faced the Red Sox in the battle for first place. We talked about the Yankees doing their third triple play of the season. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal all committed to Team USA, which is huge news for the men's side. So it's good that they got Durant. He'll be the best player on that team with LeBron not playing and Kawhi probably not playing. Some Joey Votto stories. He got into an umpire's face and he got tossed. And then he gives a young fan a ball as the Reds fan was very upset. Her favorite player got ejected at her first game, but Votto makes it up to her, which is really, really sweet. And then Votto said that his dad is proud of him after he said he got his temper from his late father, that he'd be proud, and the father would be proud of Joey's ejection. Alvin Kamara teams up with NASCAR as he announces he has joined NASCAR as the first growth and engagement advisor. That's interesting. Steve Cohen talks DeGrom's contract as he says now is not the right moment to renegotiate Jacob's deal as they're focused on this year. That's the right mentality from Steve Cohen. He's so much better than the Wilpons already. It was revealed that Harden has a grade 2 strain as he played with it during the series against the Bucks. Aerial Powers missed almost 2 to 3 months after going surgery for a torn UCL and a right thumb. So that is a big loss for the Lynx. Fernando Tatis exited Saturday's game with a shoulder injury after diving for a ball. The Bills plan to build a new stadium that could be ready between 2025 and 2027. Kirill Kaprizov could leave for the KHL as talks between the rookie sensation and the Wild have gone cold as Kirill has interest in the Russian league. So the Wild are under so much pressure to get something done. They might have to trade the guy that's probably going to win the Calder. That's crazy. So Chandler Stevenson missed games 3 and 4 for Vegas. As Stevenson might be back for game 5. They need him back. Their offense is better with Chandler Stevenson in it, manning the top line between Stone and Pacioretty. And then after I did the show on Friday, Darren Drager reported that Jack Eichel is getting traded. As he says, pretty comfortable in saying that Eichel will be moved as there are a number of suitors. Apparently the Blackhawks are in the mix. I think the New York Rangers are probably the front runners because I think they have the best package to put together. They can put in Lafreniere or Kakko or Kravtsov. They can put in their lottery pick for this year even. I think that the lottery pick and one more asset can get it done because they're eyeing a 2021 first-round pick. And if that all it takes is a first-rounder, that's crazy. But to me, if the Rangers can get it done without giving up Kakko or Lafreniere, that's just incredible. And then they finally have the number one center that they've been lacking for years. And that's the main reason why they didn't win a Stanley Cup with Henrik Lundqvist, because they didn't have that franchise forward. Rick Nash was not that. They needed a franchise forward like the Ovechkin, the Crosby. They never had that. Jack Eichel's that. And that's what the Rangers lack. And that even Patrick Kane, well, the Blackhawks were lucky they had 2 of them. And even Pittsburgh had 2 as Crosby and Malkin. And then Washington had Ovechkin. The Blues had O'Reilly, who I think is one of the more underrated players in the game. And obviously Tarasenko, they had 2 big-time forwards. So we'll see where Eichel ends up. There's some other teams in play. Chicago, Rangers. You could pretty much handpick. I think that Minnesota could be playing them. It could be where Kaprizov could go. That'd be funny. Montreal, I think, is in play for Eichel. God, if Eichel is on Montreal, then that's a real cup contender for years to come. So, look out for them. Maybe Toronto. I don't think any of the, Detroit, Ottawa, any of those teams are in play. But maybe if they want to speed up the rebuild. If anybody is doing it to speed up the rebuild, it's going to be the Blackhawks, I think. I think the Rangers rebuild's over. And I think Eichel and Panarin would be the perfect top 2 for them for the future. So, to me, I think the Rangers, should be the favorites to land them. I don't know if they'll actually pull the trigger because Buffalo might want more than just a first-round pick. I just think that the Rangers have the best asset group to pull off a deal. I think the Islanders could be interesting. Maybe if the Devils want to speed up their rebuild. I can't see him going to Pittsburgh because I don't think the Penguins have the assets for that. I think the Penguins are prioritizing goaltending as they should. So I don't think they should really prioritize yet another big-time forward. I don't think Colorado's in play. Maybe Nashville, the Blues, I don't know. So we'll see where he lands. Maybe one of the West Coast teams like the Ducks or the Kings could speed up a rebuild and acquire Eichel because they have assets now too. I don't think the Sharks are going to do it. So it's going to, like I said, it's going to be very interesting to see where Eichel lands. All right. Last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. I hinted at it before. It's a baseball play. I'm going to go over 9.5 in the Diamondbacks Brewers game. Both pitchers that are starting for those respective teams are very mediocre. So I'm going to go over 9.5 at -104. Between the D-backs and the Brewers. I'm laying a unit on it. So there you have it for my best bet of the day. All right, long podcast today, I know, because there's a lot going on. All right, tomorrow's show, we will recap everything. NBA playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, Major League Baseball, WNBA, College World Series, UEFA. We'll go over everything going on today and looking ahead to tomorrow. And in tomorrow's show, I'm going to do a fun exercise, like maybe predicting into the future a little bit, in terms of like coaching and whatnot, like predict teams' future head coaches. I'm either going to do it for football or for basketball, because basketball there's a lot of open jobs. So I might do NFL looking into the future a little bit tomorrow. So we'll see. With that as the activity, maybe one more activity too, who knows. So hope you guys have a great day, everybody.